right, everyone. Welcome to our August 2025 board meeting. We have already returned to regular session, so if everyone could stand for a moment of silence. Mr. DeLucia, will you please lead us in the pledge? To the Republic. Thank you. All right, welcome everyone. Persons wishing to address the board must sign up prior to the start of public participation. Speakers must register on the form provided by the district at the entrance of the boardroom to maintain a first-come, first-served process. For purposes of following up with the speakers must provide their name, address, and telephone number and/or email. To limit comments to matters which may be properly discussed during public participation, the speakers will provide the topics. Any group or organization wishing to address the board must identify a single spokesperson. Okay, in case of emergency, would everyone please follow the exit signs to the outside of the building? Please stay completely clear of the buildings to provide space for the emergency vehicles. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion by Tim.
Second?
So moved.
Any abstentions, opposed? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, Dr. Terranova, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mrs. Kostecki. I have 3 items to discuss during my superintendent's update, and it's related to what our staff has been doing, both leadership and faculty and staff, as well as what we're going to do in the next couple of weeks. So a highlight to our entire faculty and staff and our administration team for offering so much professional development over the summer. There's been multiple book studies for our staff, whether it's regarding multi-tiered systems of support. They read the book, The Anxious Generation, around technology and cell phones, which is apropos with what's going on with the state law. A ton of work on classroom assessments as well as artificial intelligence implementation. Tremendous curriculum work going on around all sorts of areas such as reading instruction and the reading curriculum and application of the resource in grades 3 through 6, MTSS for reading improvement. There's been a ton of learning sessions for teacher assistants, not just in curriculum, but on just overall job responsibilities. Curriculum revision across 9 subject areas this summer, including the significant work that I mentioned around 3 through 6 ELA resources. And our special ed department has done a ton of work around quality teaching practices tied to our district focus on a model of instruction. Lots of also work has been going on around formative assessments and developing those formative assessments that are common across teachers for courses, especially at the 7 through 12 level. So just a great opportunity for our staff to work on professional development. That's going to lead to our 3-day staff conference days that occur starting August 27th. We have our kickoff for teachers and staff on that day, and Lisa Kostecki, as our board president, will welcome the entire staff. We're also going to have a shout out from our PTSA leadership for about a minute just to recognize the PTSA, and so our staff understands their important role, and we do the very important Unsung Hero award ceremony. The conference day is targeted on 3 major areas. The 3 conference days, that's going to be a deeper understanding of the relationship between curriculum and the instruction that happens in the classroom, a deeper dive into the curricular areas for all of our teachers, a heavy focus on mathematics and literacy professional development. And yet the common theme from the professional development that I talked about this summer, use of data to assess student learning and the role of our amazing professional learning communities to support that and also to support the model of instruction that is focused on student-centered, rigorous instruction that's relevant and really working on creating consistency K-12 on that. And then my last update is a hiring update, a shout out to Dorothy D'Angelo in her role as Assistant Superintendent for Personnel, and all of the leadership staff and the teachers that have been involved in hiring. Specifically, I want to shout out Dorothy, Christine Griffin, and Kelly Klink for the Transportation Department. They've done tremendous work filling many positions for our Transportation Department and bus drivers. We're not exactly where we want to be yet, but we have made so much progress thanks to their leadership and the leadership of the whole Transportation Department, so we're feeling much better about that. And thanks to Dorothy's leadership, we filled 96% of our probationary teacher openings since the spring, and our interviews are occurring for the other 2% that we haven't filled yet. So we're in great shape with that. Again, thank you to Dorothy and everyone for their leadership. And that's my superintendent's update.
Thank you, Dr. Terranova. We have no recognitions tonight. I'm sure we're all looking forward to next month when we get back to that. Next item is public participation. Although the board's work is open to the public, this is not a meeting with the public. At this time, privilege of the floor is offered to those who have signed up to speak. The chair will be happy to recognize those of you who wish to speak. When you approach the microphone, please identify yourself before presenting your thoughts. Individual comments will be limited to 3 minutes, and the total time for this portion of the agenda will be limited to 30 minutes. Please note issues related to specific school district personnel or students must be brought to the attention of the superintendent of schools privately, as they are not discussable at this venue. Anyone? No. Moving along. Acceptance of consent items 6A through J. J? No. I'm skipping a page. There are a lot. It is J? Okay. Before I ask for a motion, any comments or questions?
I would just mention in the personnel agenda, the resignation due to retirement of Nancy Williamson, elementary teacher, effective August 22nd, 2025. Nancy taught in the ECS for many years and really made an impact for our kids, and we're definitely going to miss her. And I just want to thank Nancy for her time in Victor and the dedication that she gave to her kids, and wish her a great retirement.
And I would just highlight thanks to the Budding Readers Program for the donation of the books and the class sets to the ECS and UPK, kindergarten and first grade.
Absolutely. Nothing else? Can I have a motion to accept these items?
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any opposed? Approved. Item 7, campus news. Back to you, Dr. Terranova.
This is the last month you need to listen to me for campus news. But it's some great stuff going on. So at the VEC, the ECS, the final month of summer has been a busy and exciting time at our school. The building is almost completely cleaned and ready to welcome our new learners, with just our hallways left to be scrubbed and waxed, and the ECS is looking fantastic. Next week, we'll welcome our new teachers, and we couldn't be more thrilled about the talented, passionate educators joining the team. The anticipation is building, and we're ready to launch into another wonderful school year together. At the VPS, in our fifth week on the job, Amanda Byrne. This week, the Victor Primary Building Leadership Team came together to consider communication and support for upcoming building initiatives, including the master schedule changes to maximize instructional minutes, opportunities to increase student voice and engagement with establishing clear expectations for the community, and also supporting the internet-enabled device ban at the primary level. This summer, VPS has been filled with students for extended school year and summer academy. There was also students in the building for summer enrichment and some sports camps. It's really exciting to see so many students learning and being active over the summer. It's a great reminder that our campus is an important part of our Victor Farmington community. VPS is excited to welcome all of our students back for our meet and greets on September 2nd and for their first day of school on September 3rd. And Mr. Morrow at the VIS says that at VIS we are extremely excited about our upcoming school year. As we prepare to welcome our students back, we have analyzed a wide range of data, including staff feedback, student academic data, and social emotional data. as well as to inform our focus for the 2025-26 school year. VIS has historically been a place where collaboration, community, and teamwork has been at the forefront of what makes our school great. We will continue to leverage those strengths to provide students the support they need, both academically and social-emotionally. Additionally, we will be working to provide opportunities for student voice to solidify a sense of belonging and continue our learning regarding restorative practices to enhance the community at the intermediate school. Thank you for your continued support to make VIS a wonderful place for students, families, and staff. The junior high under Mr. Gee have added some really extremely strong and talented team members to the junior high this summer for the start in the fall. They're very pleased with the talent we have found. We have also done some excellent work around goal setting as a building based on the equity audit feedback, which the board is going to hear about in a few minutes, and which was run through the University of Rochester to support all kids feeling safe and valued in their environment. He also recognizes the work the teachers and staff have done around professional development throughout the summer and is excited to have kids back soon. At the high school, Mr. Siesto mentions the freshman class of 2029 who entered the building on Tuesday, August 12th with our freshman orientation program. Special thanks to health teacher Ms. Katie McEntee and special education teacher Mr. Mike Guido, as well as the student leaders who supported our freshman class with a day of fun, team building activities, and will be checking in with our freshmen throughout the year. Also, Thursday, August 21st, this coming Thursday, is the annual Senior Connection for the class of 2026. And it's a fantastic way for those students to get together and kick off their senior year on a positive note. The students will be doing some friendly competitions, team building activities, and painting their parking spots. Thank you to our class advisors, Mrs. Courtney Tortorella and Mrs. Allison Baker, for working to make the start of the senior year memorable for the class of 2026. And that's the campus news.
Thank you, Dr. Terranova. Item 7B, a capital project update from our colleagues at SWBR.
Hi, thank you. It's good to see everybody again. I'm Allison Shannon with SWBR, here with George Spinaris from campus and Mark Madalena from SWBR as well. It works, good. All right, so a lot of this is just a refresher to see where we've been and where we are today. So just going to give you a brief little update. You will have seen these slides before, so bear with me. So again, the capital themes for this project, safety and security, building renovation innovation, facilities repairs, and addition based on enrollment needs and space needs. There we go. So at the early childhood school, we've got PA and clock upgrades happening in phase 1. And in phase 2, adding air conditioning to the gyms and cafeterias. So we'll be adding air conditioning to the gyms and cafeteria throughout the district in phase 2. So you'll see again, PA and clocks in phase 1 at the primary school and air conditioning. Intermediate building, there's some roof restoration going on at the intermediate building, as well as clocks and PA at phase 1, air conditioning to the gym and cafeteria, and adding a visitor parking lot of about 116 spaces, potentially at the max in phase 2. At the junior senior high school, again, PA and clocks, and then turfing the soccer field, adding an ADA accessible walkway and some fencing to that area. And also some roof restoration work at this building. And then phase 2, this is a big one. This is where all of the excitement comes in. There'll be some sanitary system work. There's a secure vestibule happening at the junior senior high school that will involve relocating the main offices at the junior and senior high school. And an unused locker room will become an athletics office. Some miscellaneous repairs to the art room. Again, cafeterias and gymnasiums will be air conditioned. We're relocating a health clinic to the front of the buildings. And the big project that you'll see are the addition of 17 instructional spaces to help keep with the expanding enrollment at the junior senior high school. And a small sensory cafeteria will be added to the junior high cafeteria. So these are some renderings of a potential science room and interior classrooms. You'll see that they're kind of a blank slate. The district is going to put their own stamp on the graphics and design of these buildings, but a lot of these finishes, we've been working with the district to standardize in every building. So every building will have similar branding and finishes. Again, in phase 1 will be the renovation of the Victor Learning Center. So here's a little bit of an updated graphic showing the exterior. So it'll be an interior and exterior upgrade involving resurfacing of the parking lot, new roof, and new siding for the building. So really giving it a facelift to make sure that it blends in with the identity of the Victor campus. And then also the Ops Center will house a new CT automotive program. So again, phase 1, as we go to SED, we're about $13.3 million. And also the project schedule, we're on track to have bidding for phase 1 at the end of October of this year, breaking ground for the buildings in January of 2026, and hopefully in spring of 2026 for the fields. Phase 2, schematic design is complete, design development is complete, and we're looking to complete construction documents at the end of this year. Did you have anything to add, George?
No, it's pretty good.
And that's it for us.
Any questions?
I do have a question, but it may not necessarily be related to this capital project, but I was part of a advocacy committee that was looking at ways to either generate revenue or reduce cost. And one of the suggestions that we heard from the group, and we'll be talking about this later, but one of the suggestions from the group was solar. I know I've asked the question in the past, whether solar panels can go on the kinds of roofs that are on our buildings, and I've heard that perhaps not. But I also heard the suggestion that there may be a roofing material that are actually solar panels. Are you folks aware of that, and can you speak to that perhaps?
Mark, do you have anything, or George?
Well, I didn't know. Did you want to take that?
Go ahead. I know a little bit about it.
So Mark is our sustainability guru for SWBR.
Well, and I have not done a vast amount of solar projects, so I can't speak as an expert on that. I've worked with solar. There are different ways to apply it. Ballasted, weighted down, I think would be the method for your roofing here. Otherwise, we'd get into a lot of structural and boots and that sort of a thing to get an array on a roof. We have probably a great location in your new addition to the junior senior high school. However, there's still planned for future addition beyond that. So it's a consideration. I do know that incentives for solar are pulling back, and as I understand it, if it's not bid or part of a project by the end of this year, those incentives are not available. So I think we're challenged from the incentive standpoint, but could we? Yes, I'm sure there is. And if there's a location or if you'd like to see a business plan around that, we will probably get somebody to step to the table and provide that.
Okay, thank you.
Anything more?
You want me to?
Yes, please.
We put them in over at the Greece Transportation Building 2 years ago. So it is a ballasted system. Basically, you take the solar panels and put them up on a roof, and you do have opportunities here in order to proceed with that. But the thing is, to make them really efficient, you need battery backup. You need a host of other items to work in conjunction with the solar panels to make them efficient. And when you get the rebates, it kind of makes it affordable in order to do. Otherwise, they're quite expensive. So studies have to be done, and if the incentives are not there, then it's a balance of whether or not you're going to get your return on investment.
Thank you.
Just piggybacking off of that, have you done any where there's solar on like carports for the buses? Because I know I've seen that out west, and if we're eventually going to have electric buses, you know, there would be the need right there. Have you done any of those kind of?
I will say our civil engineer just spoke about that today, too. She's done that before. And it does come with a cost. You have a structural system that you're building to build that canopy, but it is a great application. It provides shade. And so I think it would be an exercise just to evaluate ROI in this case, right? Investment and return. As George mentioned, backup and battery and a system and, converters, transformers, electrical systems to accommodate. It's worth a study, I would say.
My question then for this group would be, we should have my first impetus and then question would be that we should have a discussion on whether or not we as a board would suggest that study occur based on what potential things are, to your point, going into electric buses and how if that outlay return on investment long term. And I don't understand the specific nuances of if we were to put some sort of an array on a building that it's feasible, whether it's this one because we're not building up or anything like that. What is that return on investment versus our RG&E costs every year, just from what our normal standard operating procedures are and budgetary expenditures are with electricity for the district? Is that something that we would charge to you, Dr. Terranova? Is that something that we would push to the facilities committee? Is that something that we would go back to SWBR and say, please conduct a study? I'm just trying to think of a way to do it where we're not spending additional district money, if we can avoid it, to find out what the efficacy of it would be.
I think just by bringing it up, you're kind of charging me to do it, which is good. So.
But I don't want to speak for the whole
Well, I
board.
want to make sure so what you're saying is check on the feasibility of a potential solar study.
Well, not the feasibility of the study, but actually a study to check on the feasibility of harnessing solar energy that would long-term benefit the district versus what the expenditure would be.
We can definitely do that.
Benefits.
I would just report back to the board if there's any cost to the study itself, just so the board's comfortable with that.
So I think, too, if we can, you had mentioned rebates this is like the last opportunity to be applying for those. So my question would be, what's the harm in applying if we're not going to actually use it?
Whoever would be your consultant would tell you the timeline and the sunset dates and all your incentives that are available and durations. So you'd have a business case that would consider that as a result of the study.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, would the study put us in a position where we would be up against the clock to try to get those rebates in a timely fashion?
I can't say.
Okay.
I guess, and to follow up
It is
that
a good
with how you answered it is then, would SWBR, is that within your bailiwick of being the consultant, or is that something where the district would have to look to another entity specific to that expertise?
We could recommend some, and I think that'd be the best path forward.
Okay, thank you.
So I think that's a notation, too, is the timeline for rebates and incentives.
Well, and we're looking for a space that we're not going to keep building up on, right? Because it would have to, which I'm not sure where that space is other than this building, like you said, so.
And also what potential environmental impacts would be as a byproduct of if we did pursue something like that, which would all come through a feasibility study.
Yeah, there's a lot of implications for structural concerns as well as, did you replace the roof recently? Is there a long-term life of that roof system?
Well, I can just say, because I'm also on the planning board in Farmington, some of the solar projects that come before us, I mean, it took 2 years.
Yeah.
One of them to, start to finish. A lot of implications, a lot of things to think about. So, and batteries are considered on some of the, solar arrays. So yeah, it's not an easy task, but I wanted to bring it up because it was one of the things that was mentioned out of this group as a potential. And, not only do we have perhaps roof space, but, there may be land available that is facing south, like where the old White House used to be years ago, to put a solar array. But again, perhaps a 2-year process just to, get it through the town approvals and EPA approvals, et cetera, which may align with the state's recommendation that we go to electric vehicles. So maybe we can link it to that and get some kind of incentives after these expire.
Yes. Good point.
Just a quick question for Dr. Terranova. Do you know where our fleet electrification plan study that was supposed to be a year ago or so? Like, I don't know if we ever got results.
I don't off the top of my head, but I can check.
Okay, thanks.
I got a couple questions, if you don't mind shifting gears. Any other solar stuff before I move on? No? Okay. I'm sure you've already discussed it, but with phase 1, is it going to require movement of classrooms and stuff like that? All that stuff is going on? No? Because it looked like a lot of PA stuff and clocks.
Actually, we did an EPA lighting project. It's all on second shift. So they come in at 3:30, and they work until 11 o'clock at night. So the PA system would be kind of done in the background, so it wouldn't impact anything. The roofing project, we just work around the district again with that. And then the 2 other projects during phase 1 is the Ops Center and the Learning Center. That's going to probably start January 1. Once everybody moves out, and that's going to be done, during the school year, and it's not impactful because we're in separate buildings, so we really shouldn't impact the district whatsoever. We put a site safety, logistics, and phasing plan together. We run it past Chris, and then we roll that out to the administration and get everybody's buy-in before we start.
And because my day job, I'm very inquisitive about scoreboard, sound systems, and everything else over on the field. Is there going to be a press box or anything like that, or is it just the field?
Just the field, no press box, but there will be a new scoreboard.
Okay, we're dragging on that stuff around here.
Alternate scoreboard.
Alternate scoreboard.
There you go. We're hopeful.
We need those
really good
bad,
numbers.
not that I care.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Just a quick question, timeline, because as I was in the intermediate cafeteria, which was a sauna over the summer, do we have a timeline on where in AC? I know it's phase 2, but is that 2 summers or?
Yes, that would probably be the second summer. Summer would be 26, 27.
27 summer, okay. Thanks.
I was in the kitchen today. I feel your pain there.
Yeah, it's hot, those 90-degree days.
Any other questions? Thank you all very much for the update.
Thank you.
Enjoy your night.
Thank you.
Item 7C, 2025-2026 Management Plan Overview with our favorite Karen Finter and Karen Ryan.
Good evening, everyone. Karen and I are pleased to be here tonight and to have the opportunity to share with you highlights from the 4-year management plan that we will be reviewing with you. The management plan is driven by the strategic plan, the district mission and vision statement, and is focused on outcomes and accountability. It is anchored to the pillars of culture, learning and instruction, student supports and opportunities. The management plan really ignites the work that the district will engage in to support student achievement. A collaborative process is used throughout the implementation of the management plan by enlisting all stakeholders in reviewing the accomplishments of the plan and looking towards what the next year plan will be. And this work begins in the development of the 25-26 management plan began this past spring. And the leadership team and key stakeholders responsible for the goals, the action steps, and the tasks reviewed each area, identified those areas that needed to roll over into this school year's plan, And these items were incorporated in June into the management plan, and then work between June and August across leadership and stakeholders really finalized the plan by identifying the action steps that were tied to each goal area. The management plan really influences the annual district focus and goal areas. It provides a starting point for the analysis and planning across departments and building levels. It aligns directly to our mission and vision statement for the district, and district leadership and shared decision-making teams really operationalize the management plan through development of building goals and focus areas, and really drives the action steps for each goal or building, department, and district. It really is an accountability mechanism and provides opportunities for us to evaluate progress with data. I'm going to turn it over to Karen.
So what's in the plan? So as you know, in years past, we have our 3 pillars of the strategic plan, culture being one where the goal is to create a welcoming, safe, and inclusive community where all members are valued and the wellness of each individual is at the forefront. In the culture pillar, it's not just about the classroom, but it's the culture of our district as a whole and the systems that support our robust culture. It includes important components like, you'll hear in a little while, about our equity audit and the action planning stemming from it, a continuation of the work of building structures regarding the master schedule and letter day alignment at the secondary level, certainly opportunities to provide staff support to get and enlist their voice and to offer their appreciation for the work that they do, and certainly opportunities to engage student voice and really awaken that as well. So the culture pillar is incredibly important. Lots of components that are not just within the classroom, but some of those systems as well. In terms of learning and instruction, the overall goal to develop comprehensive processes and systems that positively impact all students' academic success. We've worked throughout the last few years to define and operationalize student-centered, culturally responsive instruction. This year, we'll work to refine practice and introduce a model of instruction for Victor which spells out with great clarity what exemplary practice is and what we expect to see in our teaching and learning spaces. The bulk of the action steps within the management plan this year relate to this model of instruction. Areas like providing professional development to grow our staff's capacity as educators, to shore up practices that will enable teachers to review data efficiently and effectively, to design differentiated learning experiences to meet the needs of groups and individuals, and to share expertise with colleagues within our robust PLC system. We'll also refine utilization and understanding of assessment practices, first starting with guaranteed and viable assessment as a component of our curriculum, using tools like eDoctrina to make analysis more efficient and transparent. We'll also gather information about grading practices across the district to help better understand what those approaches are. We look forward to sharing the model of instruction with you throughout this year. Under the student supports and opportunities pillar, where we want to maximize support so that every student can achieve their full potential. As you'll see in a moment, the management plan will support action steps that respond to the data identified through the U of R equity audit. Identifying what those barriers to access will be a big part of the work this year under this pillar. Things like reviewing our acceleration practices, ensuring that all students have access to work-based learning opportunities, to provide those supports around our internal as well as external supports for families. And then we want to think about what are ways to inform academics and social emotional progress using resources to help us do that. So student supports and opportunities, again, is a large pillar that incorporates a lot of areas. So we can think about the pillars as isolated silos, but honestly, it's better to synthesize the work across the year. And so I offer this graphic just as a way to show the interdependence among the pillars. You have to have a strong culture. You have to have solid systems of support and to be focused on student learning and instructional practice. These dependent relationships really cut across all 3 areas of the management plan. Another way to look at it is that 2/3 of our work is really student-focused on instruction and learning. And for the most part in this Year 4 management plan, a lot of the work is refinement. It's not brand new systems, but it's that continual improvement process. So student growth, cutting across all 3 pillars, we'll be asking questions like, how are we monitoring student progress toward achievement goals? How do we really know if students have learned what was intended? What do we do if they have not? And how do we use data effectively to help us differentiate? What are barriers to achievement and growth for students? What can we do to remove these barriers to access or opportunity without compromising high expectations? Exceptional teaching for all also cuts across all 3 pillars, continuing our focus on a student-centered, culturally responsive classroom environment through that model of instruction, but also helping teachers refine and grow their craft, thinking about teaching as a system to listen, to provide resources and support teachers' overall growth. And then finally, in the culture, systems, and structures arena, cutting across 2 of the 3 pillars, we know that it is imperative that we remain fiscally responsible and forward-thinking. The pending capital project, as we just heard, is a forward-thinking project that is about to come to life. We've done a lot of work over the last 3 years to develop the support systems so that as we do have to deal with what construction will be like on campus, we've got solid supports for our staff, opportunities for student voice and staff voice to be heard, and certainly feedback from the community.
So what's next? It's really taking this information and really sharing it with our staff, helping them understand the themes in the management plan, and like Karen said, how they connect and how they cross over, where our focus is, where are the resources, and enlist them in their voice and their feedback throughout the year. It's also reviewing this with our shared decision-making team and having them look at it and give feedback. And then as an entire staff and district, really engaging in the action steps throughout the 25-26 school year, holding ourselves accountable, making sure that we're looking for the evidence and we've got the accomplishments that we said we were going to do at the beginning of the year, completed by the end of the year, and provide updates to you throughout the year. We want to thank you, and we'll take any questions.
Any questions from the board?
Okay. Well, we're going to move right into the equity audit. Okay. So, as part of our ongoing commitment in equity and excellence, Karen and I would like to share our recent equity findings with you. The audit helped us examine student experiences, participation, and outcomes across academic, extracurricular activities, and school culture. And by reviewing our strengths as a district and our areas of growth, we can ensure that every student here at Victor has equitable opportunities to succeed and to be recognized for their achievements. The equity audit was a result of the work of our DEI committee, and the DEI committee was part of the strategic plan. And that committee looked for us to really take a closer look at where our strengths and our areas of growth are across academics, extracurricular, and a sense of belonging. Tonight's presentation is going to highlight those for you. The district is committed to making Victor Central School District a place where differences are seen as strengths, opportunities and access are equal, and all students feel a sense of belonging. We uphold this commitment when we empower every stakeholder, our students, our families, our staff, and our community partners, to take an active role in creating a school community where all can thrive. We achieve this commitment when we work together as a school community to ensure equity, belonging, and respect for every learner is embedded in our culture. The equity audit started July of 2024 and completed June of 2025. A team from the University of Rochester partnered with the district to establish goals for this work. The goals crossed 3 areas: To what extent do all students feel a genuine sense of belonging and inclusion? How equitable are the opportunities for all students to access academic, extracurricular, and social-emotional resources? And how well does the district recognize, values, and leverage differences as an asset in our school community? The University of Rochester team partnered with the district to collect and analyze that data, and the data really was anchored in the 23-24 school year data and part of the fall 24-25 for our Panorama survey data. In addition, our principals, Brian Siestu at the high school and Principal Brian Gee at the junior high, enlisted their student communities to form student focus groups at the 7-12 level, ensuring representation from a diverse range of perspectives and experiences. The data analyzed by the U of R team looked at advanced placement participation, graduation diploma attainment, participation in athletics, music's grades 2 through 12, National Honor Society, as well as our Panorama data grades 3 through 8. Student focus groups provided qualitative data in addition to the quantitative analysis. And Karen and I really want to thank our University of Rochester partners for their collaboration and the dedication to this work, but we would also like to recognize Liz Temple, our district data coordinator, for her provisioning of the data sets. She went well above and beyond her job, and she was instrumental in this process. As part of unpacking and interpreting the findings in the equity audit, district demographics were reviewed to provide an important context for interpreting the results. And this information serves as a reference point, helping us understand how our student population, that composition, including factors of race, ethnicity, socioeconomic status, language, and special programs, relates to access, opportunity, and outcomes. As we've previously shared in prior presentations, there's a history of high achievement and student involvement here in Victor. The equity audit confirmed strong academic performance, robust participation in extracurricular activities, and key strengths within our district that supports that warm and welcoming inclusive environment. Disproportionality in the equity audit refers to the presence of unequal representation or outcomes for specific groups of students relative to the overall population in the school district. While the equity audit highlighted many strengths, it also uncovered growth areas for us, and there was persistent disproportionality across our academics, extracurricular participation, culture, and climate. This does call for intentional strategic action to ensure equity for all students. We'll share some of the examples of these findings tonight with you, but also how we're going to respond.
So I know electronically you have access to the executive summary provided by U of R and some of the data charts. Tonight, Karen and I just wanted to share a snapshot of some of that information, and certainly as you have time to distill some of the information provided by U of R, if you have additional questions after tonight's presentation, please don't hesitate to reach out. Student voice played a critical role in the equity audit, with focus group feedback providing insight into lived experiences that numbers alone cannot capture. The student perspectives help us better understand the stories behind the data and guide actions that truly reflect student needs. So for tonight's presentation, you're going to see some of our focus group feedback as well as some of the quantitative data that U of R analyzed. We wanted to share kind of both in proximity to one another. Students shared their appreciation for the wide range of academic offerings and for hands-on learning opportunities. They noted that their teachers have a key role in supporting their academic success and that teacher responsiveness to their needs helps them to be more engaged and interested in learning. The audit also probed into data around understanding of differences in terms of our curriculum and the conversations that are happening in classrooms, leveraging Panorama data. The data indicated that 40% of our students felt that our teachers encouraged them to learn about different races, ethnicities, and cultures. One of the data sets, as Karen mentioned, around academics was our regions with advanced designation rates. And these rates are very strong, in the high 60%. The equity audit shared this data as certainly a point to be celebrated, but when we look at that level of 60%, what groups aren't achieving that level? So we did note disproportionality for 3 of our racial or ethnic subgroups, as well as our students with disabilities and our economically disadvantaged students versus our non-academically disadvantaged. So there's some disproportionality. What does that mean? That means that we'll have to generate more questions to look at why are there differences? What are barriers to access that kind of opportunity to achieve at that advanced designation level, to attain that Regents diploma with that distinction? And so that's some of the work that lies ahead that we'll talk about in a little bit. Another area of academics was AP participation. It also reflects disproportionality across our subgroups. 1 point to celebrate, 47% of our high school population took 1 or more AP exams. That's about half of our students. That's amazing. That should be celebrated. But when we take that percentage, about 50%, we should see about 50% of those subgroups also participating, and we don't, unfortunately. There is disproportionality. Only our white and Asian students, white, Asian, and multiracial students are within that range. Again, as I mentioned, we have to look closely at potential barriers that might impact participation. And again, this isn't about watering down. I'm not suggesting that at all. It's what are the on-ramps? What are the ways to provide more information about what these opportunities could provide to students? What are ways that perhaps some of the cost associated with these opportunities could be met in another way? What are some of the support opportunities to bolster academic skills? Again, more questions than answers right now, but having this information points us in a direction to begin to uncover those questions. Extracurricular certainly is an important component of the school experience. Our student focus groups provided feedback regarding extracurricular opportunities, and they certainly share that there is an abundance of them to participate in. Clubs and extracurriculars are places where students' identified friendships can be fostered and a strong core community is created. Student voice highlighted the need to celebrate both arts and athletics equitably. They articulated that this would strengthen school culture as a whole and ensure all student accomplishments are publicly valued. Dewey, just a few months ago, shared amazing participation information around athletics. There's an incredibly strong culture of athletics and high levels of participation in Victor, with 58% of our students participating in athletics. More than half participate, but then take that same percentage and apply it to our subgroup data. Again, we see disproportionality, and so it's how do we uncover what is getting in the way. Our economically disadvantaged subgroup population is the closest to that overall participation rate at 30%. Music ensembles is incredibly strong. 40% of our students that are eligible participate in music. Again, great things to be celebrated, but we do see disproportionality as well. And so again, it's thinking about how do we engage with different stakeholders, our teachers, our ensemble directors, our admin, to really think about what are the ways kids get involved in these activities, how do we bring more parents in, build awareness of what these opportunities are and what they mean for students. The focus groups also yielded a great amount of information relative to students' sense of belonging and the overall culture and climate within their respective buildings. They shared things like what stressors are present in their lives, and they shared that our teachers are incredibly important to setting a tone where they feel a sense of belonging, and conversely, they may be unintentionally being exclusive. Teachers may make, for instance, strong connections with students based on affinity areas, but that may exclude other students. So students kind of shared that perspective that a teacher may really be focused in on a particular sports team or a particular sport, and by doing that and having those conversations, they may be missing out on getting to know other students on a deeper level because they don't have that same team affiliation or sport knowledge. Students also shared insights into the role of social media as a major source of anxiety and a stressor in their lives. We found that 63% of junior high students feel extremely or quite like they belong at school, and 48% of senior high students feel extremely or quite like they belong at school. And that's on a 5-point scale. That's the top two of the 5 and the 4. The view of our compiled the student statements and shared back with us just some visuals to help our planning and our work here back in the district. This represents the high school profile of the student and the kinds of stressors that are top of mind for them that could serve as a reminder for us as ways to think about how are we supporting these aspects of student life. And then at the junior high, the question was subtly different. It was more framed around what additional supports or help do you need, as opposed to what stressors exist. And so students identified areas for academic support, social emotional support, including mental health and well-being, ways to help classrooms, ways to help them feel more connected or supported, and then some structures and systems that would help them as well. I'm going to turn it back over to Karen to talk about what we're going to do with all of this great information.
So this past July at our K-12 leadership retreat, we unpacked the equity audit and we looked deeply at the data that it provided us and helped us identify our strengths and areas of improvement. And even though the data sets really primarily sat with our 712 data, it was really important to have our elementary leadership looking at this with us so we could build what are those systematic pieces and barriers that are in place, and how can we begin at the ECS and the primary and the intermediate, fostering those opportunities or developing that climate and culture, or looking at our academic supports for students so that they can access those honors classes or AP classes. And so that was really powerful that we were together as a group doing that. And so building leadership teams and departments really work together to develop goals grounded in the audit findings. And in the area of school culture across K-12, you'll see action steps that really focusing on student leadership opportunities, student voice, a sense of belonging, community engagement, connection with adults, student awareness of clubs, activities, and resources. So even here at the ECS, they're looking to build those leadership roles by having first grade ambassadors or having students participate in the morning announcements. At the intermediate level, they're having mentoring, morning show they're going to participate in. They're going to help plan the monthly assemblies. So every school is really looking at how are we going to build that sense of belonging and those strong leadership qualities for our students. When we're looking in the area of learning and instruction, the goals are really focused on, like Karen said, unpacking and defining those core instructional elements through our model of instruction. How are we using our assessment practices to really inform as students are learning what we've intended for them to learn? Building a student awareness for course pathways and opportunities. When are we having those discussions with students about advanced placements or what electives they want to take, and what are we offering at the high school and in the junior high? And what are those academic supports, and how are we leveraging our MTSS practices to ensure students are getting what they need so they can access that core curriculum? What's next? Our next step is our DEI committee will be meeting in August and will review the findings and identify potential district-wide next steps. communicating these findings with our staff and our community. Each building throughout the year is going to provide this data as they unpack their goals. So if there's a goal around ensuring every student feels a sense of belonging, why are we picking this goal? What's the data that's related? Even here at ECS, they're going to ground to that equity audit, so we all have a strong understanding. And we're going to continue through building goal action plans to address each of the areas that were surfaced. We're going to continue to ask ourselves the questions. Karen said we have a lot of questions right now because we really want to keep identifying those barriers so that we can provide these opportunities. So we will be happy to take any of your questions at this time.
Thank you. Would you please go back to the athletics followed by the music participation slides? Just the question that I had from in comparing the two is there's the number for athletics, and then it fast forward, and then we look at 7th through 12th. But then if you go forward one more, I may have misread it, but then when we look at music, we then go 2 through 12th. And my question was more 7 through 12 because in the younger grades, everybody is doing music or chorus. And so I'm interested from the standpoint of, I was curious as to why we didn't have a 7 to 12 comparison, so it's the same grade comparison for both.
This music ensemble, it really is the extra. It's not the core curriculum music class, it's the students that are participating in the Suzuki program at primary. It's the students that are continuing with the morning ensembles in orchestra, band, and the choral work at intermediate school.
Right, so the core is not part of this?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, just the extracurricular. So it's an addition to what is in music class, yeah.
No, thank you, that makes sense then.
Other
That was
questions?
the only question I had.
I had one, and I just thought it would be good information to have to look at the certain groups that are struggling academically and overlapping if they're also economically disadvantaged, just to see, because you don't want to pinhole somebody or a group. You know what I mean? Just that information being presented like that could come off a little weird.
Yes.
But maybe it has nothing to do with that. It's something else, or, you know. So, and I don't know how we're going to intend to use that, and the information's the information, but I think that would be important.
Okay. Any other questions? A lot to unpack there. But thank you so much for working with the U of R and ensuring that we have this data so we can really start to make some meaningful changes for our students. All right, item 7E is we have a lot of trips to approve. The cross-country team to Queensbury, New York for the Queensbury Cross Country Invitational in September. The JV and varsity girls volleyball to Half Moon to compete in the Shenandoah Girls Volleyball Tournament in October. The 8th grade French students to Quebec City in May of 2026, the marching band to Toledo, Ohio to compete in the Bands of America Northwest Ohio Regional in September. I think that's all of them. So yes, if I can have a motion to approve these trips.
So moved.
A second.
Adam.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any abstentions? Any opposed? Motion carried. All right, item 7F, after the policy review, we are rescinding the following policies from the Victor Central School District Policy Manual. Everyone had an opportunity to review those. It's policy number 5400, 6000, 6800, 8,422, 8,500. So I will also need a motion to rescind those policies if there are no questions.
So moved.
Adam.
Oh, you guys are having fun tonight. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. Item 7G, which we alluded to earlier, an update on the advocacy community engagement discussion related to funding. Dr. Terranova.
Yes, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. DeLucia, who joined me at the meeting on August 12th, and because he had some significant input, and I can give you the perspective, and then I can chime in on anything that I have that might be a little different.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'll first read what the challenge is before us that was presented. Dr. Terranova and Christine Griffin, our Assistant Superintendent for Business, did a nice job in terms of laying out what the specific state of our district is. So the challenge before us is how do we maintain the needed staffing and programming for a school district with stable enrollment trends while dealing with a deficit model between expenses and revenues. So the specifics that were offered were basically with our state funding and other revenue sources compared to our expenses, we're seeing a gap of 2 to 4%, which is a challenge. So what we're asking this committee to do is to identify ways to reduce expenses or find new revenue sources. So after the presentations, we went to smaller groups, and that's where some of the ideas came from. One that I already talked about was the solar option, and another small group also talked about not only solar panels that we know exist, but roofing materials that are actually solar panels. And the only one I can think of is the Tesla. I'm sorry?
Solar City.
Solar City.
Yeah.
And whether those are applicable to, put on buildings or structures in our district for the purpose of reducing expenses. Also, what came up was, which we have tried repeatedly a couple of times, the sales tax share. In Ontario County, the sales tax is 7.5. The surrounding counties are at 8. So what we have tried to do in the past is to convince Ontario County to go to 8% and even share that extra 0.5% between the county and school districts within the county. So that's another option that we could pursue. A couple of other interesting ones that came out of the small group I was in was adding a fee for housing starts or a fee to building permits that would go to school districts. There's a similar fee that's actually added to, I believe, the permits right now for recreation and parks, at least in Farmington. I think that perhaps they might do it in Victor as well, but so trying to get, those kinds of fees that might generate some revenue for the district as well. Another idea was a cell tower as a revenue stream. We have buildings that you can put a cell tower on, and you can generate revenue from renting that facility for a cell tower. There was also an example of using EV charging stations for automobiles as a revenue stream. You would have a bank of EV charging stations on campus for people that own electric cars like me to come and charge your vehicle and charge them a nominal fee that would go to the district. One thing we're not sure about is advertising, like it's on sports fields, around the fencing, or on buses, whether or not that was doable, but that could be a potential source of revenue as well. So those were some of the ideas that came out, and next steps will be the district is going to send out a survey. Is it a survey, or I forget what you call it?
That's fine. I'd call it a survey.
To identify these kinds of ideas and anything else that people may have thought of after understanding the position that the district is in and what other ideas that may have come up or they thought of after the meeting. So subsequent meetings would then talk about, what potential revenue streams may be out there and reductions in expenses might come out of some of these ideas. So, Dr. T, I'll let you fill in some more details on what I may have missed.
I think you did a great job covering it, which is why I turned it over to you. I guess I would only add the group makeup was extraordinary. We ended up having, in the middle of the summer, 17 individuals be able to come to it. As you know, I think we have about 28 or 29 who have officially said yes, they're going to do it. And certainly not everybody can make the meeting. We actually had somebody who was on a speakerphone the whole time and did a great job as well. But we're going to make sure that every one of those 29 people gets all the information that the board got and that was given that was talked about in that meeting. I would just say that the objective of the meeting was actually just to give an overview of our financial situation. And as Mr. DeLucia just said, the group went way beyond that in the hour and a half. All those ideas weren't even part of the plan of the meeting. They just started to come and percolate. So I just wanted to mention that. The group also knows very much that their role is to come up with these ideas, consolidate ideas, be a think tank for the board to then vet and make decisions about. They know their role is to come up with the ideas and then send them to us, especially the board, to really make decisions about what might work and what won't. And even if one or two things ends up sticking out of this work, that could be one or two things that saves us millions of dollars and or shared expenses across different areas. So we're looking at 2 to 3 more meetings. We're going to decide whether they're going to be Zoom or in person. We're also going to share the notes that Kim Dole, I was thankful that Kim was there and she was able to take the notes. We'll obviously share them with the board as well. And a big thank you to Mr. DeLucia. It was great having him at that meeting. He's got a ton of respect, obviously, in the community, and he was able to give the present stuff that's going on in relation to what a lot of the community members either didn't know, or we also had some former board members in that group that were then able to add insights from their experience. So just a big thank you to Tim for his leadership.
What were the numbers? How many folks did you have total at the meeting? 17?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question, Adam.
What were the total numbers, including you and
Not counting, just individuals counting Tim, there were 17 that were able to there. Actually, 18 if you count the person on, the person on the cell phone.
You count.
And then Christine did a great job helping to explain everything, and Kim was there and I was there.
One more thing I forgot to mention, but intrigued me a bit, was one of the members at my table manages donors, high profile, rich people basically for the U of R, and he had some ideas about how we could potentially do that for our district. When I leaned over and talked to him, I said, would you, he was telling me about I have this membership sheet that he handed me on how you go after donors for different, like a charitable trust or a gift annuity, these kinds of things, which I have to admit I don't completely understand. I said, would you be willing to do a presentation? He said, sure, I would do that. So that's something that we can think about as well. It kind of intrigued me that, there's people out there that may perhaps want to give to the district, and we should take advantage of that.
And you could tie that to the alumni.
And that's kind of where they go, basically, with their alumni at the U of R, yeah.
I would just add, too, it was a great opportunity for different constituents to join together. We had the foundation leadership there, a lot of discussion about the alumni leadership, just community leaders across the board, even a couple individuals on the group that don't have kids in our district but do a lot of work with our district. And all these ideas that are going to be generated, I think, are going to be very helpful to us.
Any other questions? It's great that we had, I mean, I think it's summer, it's towards the end of summer, and to have a turnout of 17, 18 people is I think that's a pretty healthy number to start, and I look forward to hearing more about what we can do.
And down the road, I would just be interested in what it is from the Board of Education, the Superintendent's office, as far as a communication of gratitude.
Right.
To everybody who was there, the ones who are still there, the ones who said yes, just to extend that to them. So
definitely we have to do that.
Quickie, I think some follow-up maybe would be rules and regulations for, I think, the fundraising. What can we do? I'm not even quite sure we can do that. I hope we can. And then putting banners and stuff up, because some schools do it, some schools don't. They say there's a rule you can't, but then some schools don't care. But the schools that don't care got a lot of good stuff. So
yeah, and our kind of mantra to the group this week was, because people started to talk about, well, what can we actually do and what can't you do as a school? And we said, listen, just suspend the judgment on what's legal. I didn't mean it like illegal, but all the nuts and bolts around what we can do and can't do, and just come up with ideas. And then it's our job to vet those ideas and decide, and then ultimately make decisions on both what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. And if it is appropriate, what does this board feel comfortable doing and believe are good ideas? So trying to generate as many ideas as possible from this part of it, and then kind of filter them through the board to, and the experts among us around what we can do.
Good start. Thank you very much, and thank you, Mr. DeLucia, for attending and being a part of this group for us. Okay, item 7H, selection of Board of Education committees for the 25-26 school year. Kate was kind enough to send out the descriptions of each committee, and then who was currently serving in last school year. We did realize as we were sitting down that there are actually two committees, the BOCES liaison and alternate, and the advocacy committee that are board leadership. So those, Elizabeth and I will jump on for the 25-26 school year, but the others we will go through one at a time. We will start with the Athletic Hall of Fame Committee. Dr. Parks has currently been sitting on that. We do know that's a 3-year term with the potential limit of 3 consecutive terms.
I'd love to do it.
You would love to do it again? Does anyone else have an interest, or are we deferring this to Dr. Parks yet again? I'm fine with that, with Dr. Parks staying.
That's the only one I was sitting there saying I really, really want to do that. Everything else is pointing.
All right, if no one has any issues with that, Dr. Parks will remain on that committee for the 25-26 school year. There's the audit committee. This past year it was Mr. Adams, Mr. DeLucia, and myself on that committee. I don't know if there's others who have interest. I will say for me personally, I feel like my skill set fits well with that committee. This is what I do in my day job, so I like being a part of that. But if others have an interest, obviously, please speak up.
I would be happy to do it, but if I would defer to someone else if they want that opportunity. You know, it's something that's pretty interesting. So step up if you so want to, but.
What's that? He's asking if you want to take it from him.
Well, I'll take the X factor out. I'd like to remain on the committee. I think it's important to have some consistency, and we've got a lot going on.
Yeah, I'm the one that's deferring if someone else wants to jump on with Lisa and Brian.
I'd like to stay, but.
We're doing audit, not policy. You're on policy, right? Or are you on? Yep, audit committee.
We're on audit.
Audit is Brian, me, and Lisa.
We're already on. I bet.
Anyone else want to do it? Otherwise, I'll do it.
You're staying on then.
Huh?
I can't.
Oh, that's right, you can't, yep. So,
You can't, that's right. Yeah. Not allowed. All right, so those three committee members will stay the same for 25. As we said, both the liaison and alternate are board leadership, so that will move from Mr. DeLucia and myself to myself and Mrs. Mitchell. The district-wide school safety team and alternate, currently that has been Mr. Snyder, and the alternate was Dr. Parks. I mean, I would totally vote for you to stay on that. If you want to.
I'm happy to be the alternate unless someone has strong desire to. Anybody have strong desire to? I'm fine. Ryan, Timmy D, anyone?
Guys are making this all too easy.
All
All right,
like
so
we're
that'll
good.
stay
I'll be
the
alternate.
same.
I run with scissors, so I can't be on there.
Oh, we don't want that, right? Facilities Committee has been Mrs. Mitchell and Mrs. Prescott. I know there wasn't as many meetings last year.
None.
Right, because of what's going on. So I know Elizabeth had said to me prior to this meeting, she would like to stay on.
Yeah, I'd like to see what a meeting is,
Right.
because it hasn't.
Oh, we're going to definitely have a meeting. Can't tell you exactly when, but we have to,
Yeah.
to really help with the capital project progress.
Does anyone else have a major interest? Otherwise, should we keep that the same?
I have interest if one of those two ever doesn't want to.
Yeah, and if you're not going to meet for the whole year, I have interest as well.
I would like to stay on it. I am interested in facilities. I asked about it all last year and kind of didn't get straight answers, so I would like to stay on it. Obviously, Elizabeth's not here to.
Yeah, I mean, Elizabeth was open on that one too, so I feel like if Adam or Brian really, one of you really, you were totally joking.
I was being serious.
Okay. Why don't we throw down Adam for now, and if there's, an issue with that when Elizabeth returns, we can talk about it, but she was open to someone else taking that role, knowing that we have a couple other committees we have to sit on.
Yeah, she's on other, yep.
Graduates of distinction has currently been Mr. Adams. We need one member. That is also a 3-year term and can be 2 consecutive terms, which you have not hit yet.
3-year term, but I joined this committee last year.
Right, so you
So
can,
I'm in
yes, you're
I'm in
fine.
term
Yes,
2.
So you would stay on for another,
You could serve consecutively
Yes.
until a 3rd year. And
Oh,
then-
great, let's keep it going.
we're going to roll that? Okay.
Sounds great.
Inquiry Program Representative, Carol, you were on that last year, I think with a lot of your, I mean, I would say, I'm not forcing you to stay on something, but you've got a lot of experience with our inquiry program, so I think that's helpful, unless anyone else is oodling, no? Are you good with that?
Yes.
Okay. The Monroe County District Operations Committee, it is 2 members, 1 and an alternate. This past year it was Mr. DeLucia, and the alternate was Mrs. Mitchell. How are you feeling, Mr. DeLucia?
Again, my goal this year is to offer opportunities to anybody who wants it. If not, I'd be happy to serve.
I think you're staying there then. The Legislative Committee member was also you, with Adam being the alternate. Oh, I skipped, sorry, Information Exchange, that was next, which was also you and I, that was you and I last year, Tim. I would love to stay on Information Exchange. It actually works during my day because they're always at noon. I can join, I try to get to them in person, but I will jump on the Zoom every week. And I find them all very interesting.
My understanding too was there's the committee membership.
Yep, and then
but when they
anyone can
meet,
join those
Anybody can
meetings.
show up to it,
100%.
right? Okay.
We just have to assign
Yes.
people, but yes, anyone can call in for Information Exchange. Anyone have an interest in joining that? Otherwise, Mr. DeLucia, if you want to swap and I'll be the member and you be the alternate there, give you a little break on something?
fine.
Okay, so we'll swap those 2 on information. And then legislative, we had Mr. DeLucia and Mr. Snyder is the alternate.
I don't know if I did anything with that this year, so if somebody else wants to jump on, that would be. Say that out loud. I'm just being honest. He's so
I
good.
would, I'd be interested in jumping on that. You want to stay on with me?
I could, sure. Do you want to swap again?
Sure, I can swap again.
You be the lead and I'll be the alternate?
Sounds great. All right, next one, Policy Subcommittee. It's 2 or 3 members. This past year, it was myself, Elizabeth, and Adam. I've just taken on 2 committees that I have to sit on as board leadership and 3 others, so I am willing to walk away from policy. Plus, I also think we're in a really good shape, and so it's an okay time for me to depart and someone new to come on for the next steps. Anyone interested?
Is Brian on or not?
He's
I was an alternate, but I think I'm going to rotate off.
You're going to rotate off?
Yeah.
I'll stay on.
You want to stay on? We don't have to have 3, so it can be you and Elizabeth. And if someone else wants to jump on or attend on occasion.
Yeah, I'll stay on that one then. Doesn't sound like anybody's jumping on that one.
All right, we'll keep that with Elizabeth and Adam for now. Technology Committee, I don't know if we ever met, Brian, I'll be honest.
We did meet.
Was it once last year?
Yeah, I don't know if we need to, is there a reason we've designated 2 members? I'm not sure what the board members contribute to those. I'm sure we can talk about it offline, but I think 1 would suffice.
Would you like to stay on that committee?
No, but I think 1 committee member would suffice to have them on the technology committee.
Yeah, I mean.
I'm not sure we need to.
I don't know if we need to, and I don't know if we're required to have 2. I've not seen that anywhere. It's, I'm happy to stay on if we need someone to stay on it, and I will do that unless no one else wants to do
I
that.
would suggest that whoever's on that has a reasonable background in that field.
Which is like partially, but not like a huge part of what I do.
So this would be my second time on the committee, my second year. So is there a
That's all
term
right.
limit?
No, there's
Nope.
the term, my
Nope.
understanding, the term limits are on Hall of
Only-
Fame,
yep.
graduates of distinction.
Yes, because you're nominating people.
So this is the reason why I didn't jump on policy, because I thought I was probably going to have to stay on tech.
No, you don't have to stay on tech, but do you want to jump on policy? Because we can
I
have,
would if someone else would be willing to take tech. If
I'll
not, then
take
I can-
tech.
All right.
You
fair.
jump on policy.
Perfect.
Sold.
That works.
See how well we do this?
Time for your day job?
I mean, maybe, we'll see. Let's not forget that some of these meetings are, they're once every couple, I'll call in favors if I need help. Trust me, I'm not shy about speaking up if I'm feeling overwhelmed with my duties. And then the last is our Visual and Performing Arts Hall of Fame. Again, that's a 2-year term and a limit of 2 consecutive terms. Carol, you did it last year, so you can stay on for another year if you would like to. There we go. We have done our committees for the 25-26 school year. That was impressive, folks. If no other questions. All right, then item 8A, Monroe County School Boards Association membership dues. Oh, yes, people want us to pay dues. We will need a motion to accept those dues for the 25-26 school year. So if I could have that.
Just a quick question, are the dues based on like the size of the district, or is it just all a standard fee?
That's a
Just
good
curious.
question.
I don't know, but I can look at that.
Yeah, like I still
looked-
moved to
know.
do it, but I was just curious.
It was within a couple hundred of what you paid last year.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know if it's based on the size. I can ask
Yeah,
how
yeah,
they come to that number.
yeah. Is it just like everybody pays the same amount, or is it percentage of, by the
ask.
enrollment numbers or something? I was just curious.
It could be on a roll. It seems like that would make sense. You wouldn't ask a smaller, right? But who knows? Good question. Can I have a motion, though, to accept the dues for the year?
So moved.
Dr. Parks, second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Carol. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions or opposed? Motion approved. 9A, upcoming events, lots of upcoming events. Next week, we have our new educator orientation on August 19th. That's in this room, starting at 8 a.m. All board members are invited if you are available. And then 9B is the superintendent's conference day, that opening day for staff that Dr. Terranova spoke up in his superintendent's update is on August 27th at 8 a.m. And hopefully some board members can join us there as well. We do have a board workshop. I'm going to throw that in here on August 28th as a reminder, and our 2 student board representatives will both be able to join us, which is very exciting. Actually, Dr. Terranova and I just attended a training with them on Monday evening. They're great. They're excited. And I'm really happy to have them both on board. I think it's going to be really great to learn from them over the course of this year. 9C, our next board meeting is on September 11th at 7:15. And then the NISBA annual convention is October 23rd through 25th. I believe it's just myself, Carol, and Elizabeth attending. Okay, so we will hunker down in New York City for a couple of days and bring back information once we are there. That is it, folks. So I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'm the one who normally does that, so someone else is going to do it now. Second?
Adam.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining from adjourning tonight? All right, we're good to go. And in the spirit of Mr. DeLucia, we have had a meeting.